from Max Talks Movies, and today is one of my final two videos of 2025. Today, I'm going to stop and rank my top 10 worst movies that I've seen so far, obviously, of the year of 2025. I'm posting this the same day as I'm going to be posting my top 10 best movies of the year. We got to start with the worst of 2025. So my name is Max Sinberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're finally seeing my background for the first time, I'm going to update my background heading into 2026 with some more just, instead of just the virtual backgrounds, the regular background, because I have some good movie posters up. But I'm Max Sinberg from Max Talks Movies. If you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so notified when my videos hit the channel. I talk all things movies, TV. I do out-of-theater reactions. I do movie franchise rankings. I do one award video a week and one box office video a week. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you like one of those things. Also, please comment down below. What are your 10 least favorite movies of the year? Doesn't matter if you've seen 50 movies, 20 movies. What are some movies you saw in theaters or on streaming this year? You're like, that was not for me. Let's have some fun talking about some bad movies down in the comment section down below. And also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. So I know a lot of critics out there and YouTuber critics, especially, who have stopped doing top 10 worst videos because they feel like they want to be positive and all these things. And hey, if you know me personally, I'm as positive as you can find me. But I don't watch over 100 movies a year just to never talk about these movies again. If there are some awful movies on this list, and I'm going to get into them right now. So let's start with number 10 actually, let's do three honorable mentions before I get into my top 10 worst movies of the year. Three movies that just missed the list. Shadow Force, the movie starring Kerry Washington and Omar Sy, directed by Joe Carnahan. Bad movie. Karate Kid Legends. Really was shocked that it did not make my top 10 worst movies of the year. And then Until Dawn. It was a video game IP I was a big fan of. Shockingly, really bad. So this was the movie that just missed the cut to get into my top 10 worst of the year. So let's start, guys, with number 10, and that is Minecraft. So many people said, "Oh, Minecraft! I had a fun time. I had a fun movie theater experience with Minecraft." And again, if you're someone who was addicted to playing Minecraft, who loved playing Minecraft, and you had just had a good enough time watching this movie, good for you. I wish I was those people, but because I'm not a Minecraft player, and I know the world, and I've seen multiple, I think, hours of video of people playing Minecraft. So it's not like I'm just like brand new to the world of Minecraft. I just thought this was a really, really bad movie. Because first of all, love Jack Black. He's like the only thing that for me is watchable in this movie. Jason Momoa, who I am a massive fan of, to me was completely unfunny and playing the biggest douchebag in the whole movie didn't help. I like Evan Myers in Wednesday. She was kind of nothing. I like Danielle Brooks. She was kind of nothing in this movie. And again, no offense to the young actor playing Henry, not a great performance. Really poorly written character as well. And again, I'm just trying to have a good time with this movie. I just didn't find myself laughing as much as I thought. Really good comedic actors in the movie, very in your face jokes, and I just did not have a good time with this movie. Again, I'm jealous of the people who had the amazing theater experiences and was just brought to some great laughter watching a Minecraft movie. I was not one of them. This easily is one of the worst movies for me of 2025. Coming in number 9 for me on this list, let me find it, is Love Hurts. This is actually a movie I was really excited for. It came out in February, starring Ke Huy Quan and Ariana DeBose from the same studio that brought the 87 North is the studio that did this movie. And I'm a huge Ke Huy Quan fan, especially Ariana DeBose. But this was a really bad movie because I think the action is fairly mediocre in this movie. So it's not like the movie has good enough action where you can give the story some, the flaws can be kind of overlooked. But because the action itself is kind of there, then you dive deep into this story with Ke Huy Quan, who's used to be a part of this criminal group, now is trying to be a normal like house salesman and a retail person. Then he's now back on the run with his ex kind of love interest with Ariana DeBose. The villains were bad. I could not believe, because I didn't know until the movie was going on that they were setting up a love story with DeBose and Ke Huy Quan when they didn't have any romantic flair whatsoever. Because I thought to myself, this is a Valentine's Day movie. What's the love spark in the movie? And it's supposed to be those two characters. I was like, they have no chemistry whatsoever, just acting alongside each other, more or less a romantic relationship. So that did not work out. And when you're here, you just want to watch a good action movie. And I thought the action was mediocre. Then you can really poke holes in the story. And that's why Love Hurts comes in at number 9. Coming up at number 8 for me is a Netflix movie, The Electric State. Yes, this is the same. This is the Russo brothers directed movie. I think this is the worst movie that the Russo brothers have ever made. And again, if you look at this cast, Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, Giancarlo Esposito, Stanley Tucci, Woody Harrelson, Anthony Mackie. I can go on and on. All-star caliber cast, and it's an IP in a world based off a book that I actually thought was really good enough to do for a movie. But the movie has really bad visual effects. The action scenes couldn't be less memorable. The wigs they give, especially for Chris Pratt, but multiple characters throughout the movie. Stanley Tucci was too much for me in this movie. Sure, some of the voice cast and some when they actually use practical effects, the movie looks quite good. But I don't really care about Millie Bobby Brown and this journey with her brother, who's now in this toy. I just found it to be boring, completely like for a movie that's so expensive. I think it was Netflix's most expensive movie of the year. For it to look as bad as it does and to be not as well made as it should be. Again, this is the director of three of the best MCU movies with Endgame, Infinity War, and Civil War. Making this movie, it's just a disaster of a Netflix original film. So The Electric State, for me, comes in at number 8. Coming number 7 for me is Him. I seem to be way more negative on Him than most people, but I find this to be the most pretentious movie of 2025. I am as big as a football fan as you'll find. I've been dying for sports movies to also become like do horror. The horror genre and the sports genre has been a dynamic I've wanted for such a long time because I love sports just as much as I like movies. And also, horror is my favorite movie genre. Let's combine the two things I love. Let's have a good time. But this movie takes football trying to become the GOAT of football to such a serious degree that it completely pulls me out of the movie. Like the first, I would say, 2/3 of the movie I thought was a pretty whatever average movie. The ending is awful for this movie, like awful ending. After I liked Tyreek Withers, and I know you did last summer, didn't find him that compelling in this movie. And I'm not the biggest fan of Marlon Wayans either. I thought he was like just fine in this movie. He wasn't bad, but he also wasn't that good either. And again, it's trying to say so many different things. And I just thought they went for the bare minimum and just told it was just too pretentious. It was too in your face with the messaging. And for me, as someone who loves football and horror, I thought this was a terrible blend of the two genres. So that's why Him comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 for me is Netflix's The Old Guard 2. I was one of the people who actually really liked the first Old Guard. I love Charlize Theron, especially in action movies. Both films have really strong ensembles. Uma Thurman coming in to become the villain for this movie. I was like, cool, let's do it. But then I'm watching the movie, and it has, for me, might be the worst, most frustrating ending to a movie I have seen all year. Where I was watching the movie, and it feels like they're setting up for this big third act final battle between Uma Thurman versus Charlize Theron. Here we go, we're going to build this up. And the movie just cuts to credits right before we see them have a big final showdown. I was like, that's the movie? Are we just begging for a Old Guard 3? There's been no mention of an Old Guard 3. The movie itself is just bad, poorly paced. It's really quick, but it's a poorly paced mess of a movie that gives some weird rule changes to the franchise with how we're passing off powers to each other. And it has the most, I gotta be honest, infuriating ending to a movie that absolutely kills the movie. Like, I think it would be still a bad movie without the ending. It turned into one of the worst movies of the year with, for me, the worst ending to a movie all year long. So Old Guard 2. comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5 for me is another Netflix movie, Back in Action, starring Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. Again, people aren't liking this movie, but I despise this movie. I find this movie to be one of the worst made movies I've seen all year long. There's an opening set piece with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz, like a flashback scene where they're doing this whole escape thing out of a plane, and they land on this snowy mountain. And you can tell they're in a totally green screen area because there's fake snow dropping from them. And all these characters who just fell in all this snow are not covered in snow at all. Snow's falling down, it's not hitting them. Like, that's the type of movie this is. I enjoy like the Mark Wahlberg family plan movies compared to this idea. And I like Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz, especially Cameron Diaz, who hadn't been in Hollywood in over 10 years before this movie. But boy, was this bad. The Kyle Chandler villain twist I could see coming from a mile away. The bit with Glenn Close and her boyfriend, I guess, I didn't find to be that funny. Glenn Close I thought was the best part of the movie, but even like them trying to set up another film honestly pissed me off. It wasn't funny. It was horribly made, and the action scenes themselves were also pretty bad. So for me, I might be harsher than most, but Back in Action for me comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 for me is Hurry Up Tomorrow, the movie starring The Weeknd, kind of loosely based on his career. Also, Jenna Ortega, Barry Keoghan are in this movie. This was awful. I did not watch The Idol on HBO. Same creators, Euphoria, starring Lily Rose Depp and The Weeknd, because I didn't want to see The Weeknd act. I heard bad things, didn't want to go see it. Now with a movie, that requires me to go out and actually see the movie, because I'm also a massive, massive Jenna Ortega fan who sadly is in this movie. Barry Keoghan is also sadly in this movie. And I think the real problem here is The Weeknd is a really, really, really bad actor. And it completely pulls me out of the movie, where the first 30 to 40 minutes is just a concert show. We watch him go in the back, warm up, have a concert, come back, do drugs, drink, go to the concert, whatever. Then when he gets like captured by Jenna Ortega, it's really bad. The Weeknd's acting seems to be just about yelling, cursing, or crying. Seemingly, that's what he thinks acting is. And again, I like The Weeknd's music. I think he's a really one of the most talented musicians we've had over the last 10 years. Listen to his songs a lot. Don't hate the person, obviously. Just think he does not have a great career upcoming in Hollywood if this is what he thinks acting is. And when Jenna Ortega is like lip singing his actual songs, like The Weeknd's kind of playing himself, it was just a weird feeling watching the movie. It was bad across the board, led by a really horrific lead performance. Now we're getting into the 3 worst movies of the year, guys. At number 3 is Blumhouse's The Woman in the Yard. I was actually excited for this movie because I love Danielle Detweiler. This comes from the director of Carry On, one of my favorite Netflix movies in 2024. I like Jungle Cruise, The Shallows as well. So he's actually a director I really enjoy. But this, to me, might be the most offensive movie that I've seen all year long. And because this movie is dealing a lot about parenting, being a single parent, the horrors, and the mental capacity it takes to be a parent. And I think this is a really good idea for a horror movie where so many people talk about just the struggles of being a parent. If it's a single parent, just being a parent in general, just the mental health stuff around being a parent. I was like, this is a really smart idea for a horror movie. And sure, the veil looks cool for The Woman in the Yard, but the first hour or so of the movie is just woman in the yard, moves from the yard to the deck to the grass to the plants. It's like just the woman in the yard just moves 5 inches closer. I'm like, this is just so bad, not intense. And then the movie, again, like The Old Guard 2, might have the worst ending to a movie all year, where the lead character is continually thinking about, let's just say, death in her own way because of her life. And it goes down a pathway that I found to be honestly awful for anyone involved. This is a message I completely disagree with, and a message that no one should be watching. I gotta be honest. Like, it is such a horrific message for parents, for anyone who goes watching this movie. again, I just wanted a dumb horror movie to have a good time. And I just didn't because I was so disturbed by the messaging they were trying to explain, like the fact that should you, what should you do in these situations, I found to be absolutely horrific. And for me, because I don't want to get into super spoiler territory, but The Woman in the Yard has an embarrassing ending that left me honestly depressed after watching the movie. Coming in at number two, guys, is The Strangers Chapter 2. Boy, am I done with these movies. And of course, the third one comes out in February. But both Strangers movies are awful. This movie, though, even though I'm not a big fan of this franchise in general, the one interesting thing about the Strangers franchise is we do not know who the strangers are. They're just wearing masks, doing their rituals, killing people. The whole mystery is anyone can show up at your door and kill you at any point if you leave your door unlocked, anything. It's about the horror of how many home invasion killings there are in the world every single minute of every single day, right? And this movie tries to explain and give an origin story to the strangers, a thing that even someone like me who does not like this franchise, it's the last thing I think we need answered is who are the strangers? Why are they killing people? Who are they actually? What are they doing? I'm like, who gives a crap? Like seriously, like it's the one thing that this franchise has a little bit of interest in for me is I don't care who the strangers are. That's the horrifying thing of these movies. But instead, we're going through all of these flashback scenes upon flashback scenes of who the strangers are, why they're attacking our lead character, all of these things. And at the same time, our lead character is just running in a hospital, running through the woods, running through a house, running through the woods. Like there's no like character growth or development for her character. I think Madeline Petch is fine in these movies, but she gets nothing to work with. The twists and turns of like, oh, they got these guys pick her up. Who are they actually? I'm like, I see that coming from a mile away. And then she has like a fight with like a CGI bear in this movie. And I was like, what the hell am I watching? Thankfully, it's like an hour and a half movie, but I just don't understand shooting these three movies back to back to back. I feel like this movie was just a giant teaser trailer for the movie they really want to tell in part three. So again, I think, again, part one was my bottom 10 of that year. Part two is my bottom 10 of this year. Let's hope part three will not be my bottom 10 of 2026. And ending on my least favorite movie, guys, of the year, and that is the Smurfs movie. I've never been a Smurfs person. And you can say, Max, this movie is not for you. You need to be 5 to 8 years old to watch this movie. I'll tell you this, I was in a pretty much a sold out theater opening day for Smurfs. And I would say 80% of my audience was kids under the age of 10 years old. And I'll tell you this, those kids looked just as bored, if not more bored than I was watching this movie because this movie was embarrassing. It was terrible. Going in, I was like, okay, Rihanna's the lead character. No, James Corden is the lead character of this movie where he's playing a Smurf who has no name and he's embarrassed by his whole Smurfs friends that he has no name and no particular skill. And the movie's trying to give this message for kids while it has some bad songs in it as well. Too many songs. The whole villain stuff with Gargamel couldn't be less interesting. There's even a point where Rihanna, voicing Smurfette, they go into a club in Paris and 3 Rihanna songs start playing while Rihanna's talking as Smurfette. I literally thought I was high for a second. Again, I'm not a Smurfs person. I would take even the Neil Patrick Harris movies over these because I thought it tried so late to have a force-fed message for kids. But guess what? All the kids in my theater were checked out well before this movie wanted to entertain or give a good message for kids. So for me, easily in my least favorite movie of the year is the 2025 version of Smurfs. Guys, what are your thoughts on this movie, guys? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you guys in a little bit with my top 10 best movies of the year. If you don't see that one, Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys in 2026.